Hey friends, I'm Amy and today we're making Girl Scout cookies. I know there has always been a debate as to which Girl Scout cookie is the best one ever, but Thin Mints are almost always in the running, so today we're making Thin Mints. Now I was a Girl Scout. I even went to summer camp for several years, Camp Furnace Hills, best place ever, and I absolutely loved it. I sold these cookies and I still buy these cookies every single year. The problem though is that I always run out and then I have half the year with no cookies. So let's make some at home to tide ourselves over until we can stock back up again. Let's get cooking. In a large bowl, add 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 2/3 of a cup of cocoa powder, 2 teaspoons of cornstarch, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. Give those dry ingredients a little whisk so they're all combined, and then set this bowl to the side. In a stand mixer bowl or in another large bowl, we need 1 cup of softened butter, which is 2 sticks. Add 1 cup of regular granulated sugar and a 1/2 cup of packed brown sugar. Cream the butter and sugar together using the paddle attachment if you're using a stand mixer, or with a hand mixer if you're using a bowl. You can do this by hand with a whisk if you want to, but that is some manual labor, especially since we are just getting started here. Mix the butter and sugars together until they become light and fluffy. You may need to scrape down the sides if unmixed ingredients are kind of trying to climb the sides of the bowl, which I don't know about you, but they always do for me. So scraping down the bowl, it is. When the butter and sugars are creamed together, add 1 large room temperature egg, as well as 1 more egg yolk only, so an egg and a yolk. Next, add 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and last, 3/4 to a full teaspoon of peppermint extract, depending on how minty you like your cookies. I do want to stress here though that this must be peppermint extract. The plain, regular mint extract is usually a mixture of peppermint and spearmint, and that is going to make a substantial change to the flavor. Mix this all up until all the wet ingredients are fully combined. I did need to scrape down the sides of the bowl again, just make sure everything gets mixed in and we're good to go. Next step, we're going to start adding the dry ingredients we mixed up before, but you want to add the dry ingredients slowly in small portions and make sure everything is fully mixed before adding more. Scrape down the bowl again, and you'll probably need to do this in between each dry ingredient add. Just keep adding the dry stuff and mix in until all of the dry ingredients are fully mixed into the bowl. It should look like this in the end, kind of like a weirdly thick frosting or like a room temperature sort of shaggy ice cream. Place a piece of parchment paper on a work surface and spoon out half of the cookie dough from the bowl. Place a second piece of parchment paper on top of the dough and then just kind of flatten it out a little with your hands. Then roll the dough out into a layer about a 1/4 inch thick. Now this is going to be the thickness of our cookies later, so we want to make sure that this is the right thickness at this step, because it's a whole lot easier to roll it out now than it will be later. Grab a baking sheet and slide the parchment paper cookie dough packet onto the sheet. Do this a second time for the other half of the dough and slide it right on top of the first half. Pop this whole thing into the fridge for at least 3 hours, but you can also make this dough up to 48 hours before you bake the actual cookies. When you're ready to make the cookies, preheat the oven to 350 and line a couple more baking sheets with parchment paper. Pull one of the dough halves out of the fridge, and now it's time to cut our cookies. If you rolled your dough a little too thick, you can roll it out a little more, but with it being very cold, it's gonna try to crack at the edges. This dough, it just really doesn't have a lot of elasticity, but it's also gonna thaw out really quick if your kitchen is a little warm, so we need to work relatively quickly. Using a 2-inch cookie cutter or a biscuit cutter, whatever you have, as long as it's a 2-inch diameter, cut out as many cookies as you can. Then ball up the dough, roll it out again, and cut out more cookies until you run out of dough. Grab the second packet and keep on going until you have whole bunches of cookies. Place the cookies on the parchment-lined baking sheets and leave about an inch in between the cookies. They will spread a little in the oven, not a ton, but enough that we want to leave a little bit of space. Bake the cookies at 350 for 8 to 10 minutes, or until the cookies are just barely set in the middle. They'll still be a little soft, but they're not going to stick to your fingers. Let the cookies cool on the baking sheets for about 10 minutes, and then move them to a wire rack to cool completely. At this point, they should be nice and crispy and no longer soft in the middle. While the cookies are cooling, we need to line our now cooled baking sheets again, but this time we're going to want to line them with waxed paper. When those cookies are 100% cool, grab a shallow bowl or container, and we need 20 ounces of dark chocolate melting wafers. Melt these in the microwave in 15-second bursts, stirring them up after each 15-second burst. It took me about 2 minutes total for them to fully melt. When the chocolate is melted, add in 1 teaspoon of canola or vegetable oil and 1/2 to a full teaspoon again of peppermint extract. Again, just depending on how minty you want your cookies to be. Stir the oil and the extract into the melted chocolate, which might take a second since oil is persnickety and it does not like to combine with things. But once it's all combined, it is time to start dipping cookies. Using a fork, dip each cookie into that minty melted chocolate. Let any excess chocolate drip off the cookie so you have a nice thin layer of chocolate coating that minty chocolate cookie, and then place it on the wax paper lined sheet. Then keep on keeping on until you run out of cookies or you run out of chocolate. I did have a few extra cookies, but I also didn't let as much chocolate run off the first cookies as I should have, so I think that was why I had some extra chocolate wafers at the end. It didn't matter though, I had some lovely mint chocolate cookies dipped in milk and it was awesome. Place the chocolate covered cookies back into the fridge so that the chocolate sets, which is not going to take long, maybe 15-20 minutes. When the chocolate is set, the cookies are ready. These taste just like Girl Scout Thin Mints. It's like I forgot I had an extra box in the freezer. They're delicious, chocolatey and minty, and perfect. Except they will melt if it's warm, so I would recommend storing these in the fridge or even in the freezer, because freezer Thin Mints are epic and it's my favorite way to eat them. Okay, for the money. And as usual, I have a cost breakdown in the description. These cost $6 a box if you buy them, and each box has 32 cookies. Now this recipe makes 48 cookies, and it cost me $13.95 for the ingredients, which would be $9.30 for 32 of them. So for the first time ever, we did not save money by making our own cookies. That's okay though, because I love the Girl Scouts. I'm happy to support them by bulk buying a metric ton of various cookies every year. But I also love knowing how to make these if I run out, because I'm already out of them this year and it's only summer. And real quick though, I am not telling you to go buy Girl Scout cookies. I am not sponsored by anything or anyone. I just love Thin Mints. So if you're like me and you run out of your Thin Mint stash with half a year to go, this is for you. And yes, I know you can see those Samoas over there. We're going to be going through those next week because I'm out of those too. So stay tuned. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you love Girl Scout cookies much as I do. Maybe leave me a comment below. Let me know what is your favorite Girl Scout cookie. Come and hang out on Sundays for comforting and cozy home-cooked meals and treats. We do make a little bit of everything on Sundays, but it's always a blast and it's always delicious. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'll see you back here next Wednesday for some more better at-home copycat cooking. Bye!